And what do we see? What do we see? Let us look and see what we see. Now I see some floodlights on the Hilton that bother me. Well, the reason I pointed to them is because this is a kind of designed environment. Whatever you think of it, whatever your opinion is of the uplighting and the umbrellas, the neon of ASK, the backlighting of the Business Design Center, the internal lighting of the ceiling, the blue lighting of the Hilton, and this effect lighting of this bus, whatever you think of it, one thing we know, it has been planned. Okay, that may seem very, very basic, but it's intentional. So when I look at all of these little effects, which, you know, I don't think they're the best in the world, but they have been planned, and I look at the floodlights, I say to myself, this is accretion. These have been added because they were missing. And it's something very interesting to learn from clients with existing institutions or existing locations like a big park or a botanical garden or something that exists already, which we do an awful lot of fixing of things that exist. When you see something like that popped on, you know there was a need that hadn't been planned for. And it's very useful. This tells us they didn't have enough light in the courtyard. Okay, so I know it's very simple, but my point is to point out the stuff that you don't notice. Now, of course, we have our little uplights here, and thank goodness they're working. So many people love the idea of in-grade uplights because they will create a path and they create something mysterious that we're not used to because, hey, light generally comes from above, doesn't it? You know, our norm in our minds is the sun and the moon. So I think people like these in-grade uplights. All right, I don't really want to say too much about this place because I don't find it that interesting. So let's go that way. See how orange and yellow we are. Now you guys are all in lighting, so you know this is sodium and very low CRI. Our color correct, you know, we mostly have the warm colors. Sodium, if it would be that's good, it's high pressure. I was glad that someone could tell me that. We have our lit up Hilton sign. Now, I think that public lighting, there are three main categories of public lighting. Safety is number one. Legibility. Legibility is making plain, making clear the spatial relationships in a place. That's legibility. So at night, of course, if we didn't have any lighting, we would have no legibility, right, of the environment. After all, the buildings are still there, even if you can't see them. You're going to bump into them. So legibility, at its very basic, is reading the city through light. And a kind of spin-off to that is wayfinding. You can find your way when a city is legible. Now, do you see how our eyes, if you look at each other, you can look at me too, without this white light, are becoming adapted to the yellow light, to the sodium? You know, I have to admit, I'm a little contrary. I don't always hate it. I don't always hate the low-pressure sodium. There's something kind of old-fashioned about it, and kind of, you know, I don't know, yesteryear about it. But in a way, this is kind of soft, and it's kind of backstreet, which this is. It's kind of the back door of everything. Let's go on this way. Now, do you all feel this right here? How glary this is because the lens fell off. We've created a little bit of a dramatic moment. If you look at each other, you have a little bit of the white light and a little bit of the yellow light. It's actually pretty dramatic. I mean, this could be a movie. You know what I'm saying? So Hans Peter thinks that we have the metal halide for the crosswalk. Does anyone from the UK, from London, know?
Add an additional
they do.
At crosswalk.
So it's on purpose. And it is so damn bright. Where are my guys who are going to guess?
Complexity, very good.
Where are my guys who are going to guess on the levels here? Was that you?
Oh, I'd say
this is like 10 to 20 foot candles. I mean, it's just so bright. What do you think?
Well,
more like 5?
We have lux and not foot.
I'm so sorry. So tell us. 15?
It's
yeah.
Not more than.
You have a meter?
No.
Okay, well
20 to 30 lux, so it's
20 to 30 lux. Now, okay, let's talk about the controversy of brightness. All right, the controversy of brightness, which is, okay, it's always been full faces, recognize that person coming towards you. Brighter is better, brighter is safer, okay? But I don't know, how many of you are working in the public realm? So you probably know where I'm going here, which is we want to save energy. We want to bring the brightness down. All right, this is, I think, pervasive probably everywhere, to bring the lighting down to save energy. Now, I think it'll probably work. And the reason I think it will work is over the years, people will adapt to it, you know. But I have to say that in a lot of poor communities, there's still, you know, a really strong emphasis on give us a couple of floodlights in this little park. We don't have any lighting. So I think, you know, there's a really refined controversy about brightness right now. Are other people experiencing that in their fields? Right, in the States they've started to change the regs to remove lighting on highways and just have them at the exits and entrances, which I think works because we do have headlights, one of the major forms of private lighting in public space. But what's really interesting is that as the sort of trend and the philosophy moves forward, let's have it dimmer, the codes and the standards have not. So this is a dilemma, but let's just think about that a minute and keep walking. Here we go. Now, you know what's really interesting is white surfaces, especially retroreflective surfaces, are in a sense a source of light, aren't they? Because when they capture some light and they reflect back to our eyes, the yellow line and the white line become a kind of source of light. Here are some little portable lights on the construction hoardings here that I think are great, and big floodlights again. Okay, let's move to the left.